Imagine this. You're holding a bright, shining gem in your hands every day, but because it's always there, you start to forget just how precious it is. That's you. You're that gem, constantly showing up, always available, and guess what? They're starting to take your shine for granted. It's time to remind them of your worth, not by begging for their eyes on you, but by making them feel your absence. Think about when you miss someone. It's not when they're always around, right? It's when they're gone, when you can't find that laughter or see that smile that you used to ignore when it was right there. Be like the cool breeze on a hot day, something they don't notice until it stops and the air stands still and heavy. That's when they'll start to feel the weight of your absence. That's when they'll miss you. Every time you lower yourself, pleading for their attention, you're actually pushing them away. Would you keep running after a bus that's already left the station? No. You'd wait for the next one, or better yet, find a different route. That's how you need to think about this. Be smart, be strategic. Let them come looking for you for a change. Here's your challenge. Leave a comment below with the affirmation, "I own my worth." Remember what Epictetus, our Stoic guide, once said. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. It's about knowing your value and acting accordingly. So go ahead, step back a bit, let them feel your absence. Say it loud, "I own my worth." Let that be your new story as you teach them to miss you, not just see you. Don't even think about skipping ahead. Every moment of this video is crafted to give you the psychological advantage you need to transform your approach. We're diving deep, revealing strategies that are powerful and effective. If you've ever felt overlooked or undervalued, what's coming next will not just capture their attention, it'll dominate their thoughts. Stick with me until the very end, because you're about to become unforgettable. This isn't just information, it's a transformation. So, sharpen your focus, get ready to take notes, and prepare to see the astonishing impact of your presence and absence. They won't know what hit them. Are you ready to see what true influence looks like? Let's get started. 1. The art of rare presence. So folks, let's discuss the first trick in making them miss you, the art of rare presence. Now, don't let the simplicity of this idea fool you. This trick is powerful, and when done right, it will have them thinking about you constantly, wondering where you are, and craving your presence. Let's break it down. Imagine this. Every single day the sun rises and shines brightly, constantly in your face. You expect it, you count on it, and while it's essential, you rarely stop to appreciate it. The moon, on the other hand, it shows up at night, quietly and mysteriously, and there's something about it that pulls you in. It's not always there in full, but when it's shining brightly, you stop and admire it. You may even miss it when it's hidden behind clouds. That's exactly what you need to be, the moon, not the sun. When you're always present, always available, always in someone's life, they start to take you for granted. You become part of the routine, predictable and easy to overlook. But when you make your presence rare and meaningful, you become unforgettable. As the old saying goes, absence makes the heart grow fonder. This is where the power of scarcity kicks in. The psychological principle behind this is called the scarcity effect. People tend to value what's limited. The less they can have something, the more they want it. It's human nature. When you're not always around, when you aren't available at the snap of their fingers, you become something to be desired, something they start to think about when you're not there. Imagine this scenario. You've been texting someone every day, always reaching out first, always being there when they need you. Suddenly, you pull back. You stop initiating conversations. You're not ignoring them, you're just less available. Do you know what happens next? That little voice in their head starts whispering, "Where did they go? Why haven't they texted me? What are they doing?" They start to wonder about you, and wondering leads to thinking, and thinking leads to missing. That's the key. You want them to think about you when you're not around, because that's where the power of your absence lies. Let me throw in a little wisdom from Marcus Aurelius. What we do now echoes in eternity. This applies perfectly here. Your actions, or rather your deliberate lack of action, create ripples. When you're always available, you blend in. But when you're rare, those moments when you do show up, they echo in their mind long after you've gone. Let's say you usually respond to their texts within seconds. Start waiting a little longer before replying. Maybe a few hours, maybe even a day. Trust me, they'll notice. You're no longer the person who's always available to them. You've become someone they need to think about, someone who's just out of reach. But here's the thing. This isn't about being manipulative or playing games. It's about respecting your time and presence. You're not at their beck and call anymore because your attention is valuable and they need to earn it. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Wait, am I supposed to just disappear? Won't they think I'm ghosting them? No, no, no. This isn't about disappearing like a magician. It's about pulling back strategically. Like I said earlier, you're not the sun, blazing all day, every day. You're the moon, sometimes visible, sometimes a sliver, sometimes a no-show, but always unforgettable. It's like when you're binge-watching a show, and then the new season ends on a cliffhanger. You're left hanging, desperate to know what happens next. That's exactly what you want to create. Keep them hanging. Keep them wondering. They'll miss you. Trust me. Think back to a time when a friend who used to always be around slowly faded out of your life. Maybe they started getting busy with work or new relationships, and suddenly they weren't texting or calling as much. At first you might not have noticed, but then one day it hits you. Hey, I haven't heard from them in a while. You start thinking about them more than usual, replaying old conversations, maybe even checking their social media. It's like you've realized there's an empty space where they used to be. That's exactly the effect you're aiming for. You want to be like that friend who's not always around, but is always in the back of their mind. When you master the art of rare presence, you stop being just another face in their life. You become a presence they crave. Now, don't misunderstand me. The goal here isn't to vanish entirely. If you disappear off the face of the earth, they might just move on, thinking you've lost interest. This is all about balance. You're showing up enough to remind them you're still there, but not enough for them to take you for granted. So, send that funny meme once in a while, reply to a text after a few hours, maybe suggest hanging out after they've reached out a couple of times. It's a dance. You lead by pulling back and watch them follow by stepping forward. Think of limited edition sneakers or exclusive concerts. People camp out overnight, wait in line for hours, and pay ridiculous prices just to get their hands on something they can't easily have. The scarcity of those items makes them more valuable. The same applies to you. When your presence becomes something they have to work for, they'll appreciate it more. They'll want it more. Emotionally, this trick plays into one of the deepest human desires, the need to feel connected. When you create space, you force them to confront their feelings. They start to realize that they miss your voice, your energy, your presence. It's in that empty space that their desire for you starts to grow. You're planting seeds of curiosity, of longing. And here's the beautiful part. The more they start missing you, the more they start appreciating every little thing about you. The absence you've created allows them to remember how much they enjoyed being with you. Here's the bottom line. You deserve to be missed. You deserve to be thought about, longed for, and valued. But none of that happens if you're always there, always giving, always available. So today, take a step back. Start valuing your time, your presence, your attention. Let them feel what it's like when you're not around. As Lao Tzu said, "He who knows when to stop does not find himself in trouble." Pull back, create that space, and let them come to you. You're the moon in their sky. Make them notice when you're gone. Let's move on to the next psychological trick. But remember this: the art of rare presence is about showing them that your absence is as powerful as your presence. You're not chasing, you're being chased. 2. Silence speaks volumes. So folks, let's discuss the second trick. Silence speaks volumes. Now, I know this one might sound counterintuitive at first. You're probably thinking, how on earth does saying nothing make them miss me? But trust me, silence can be one of your most powerful weapons when it comes to making someone miss you. In fact, when used right, it can become the loudest thing in the room. You see, most people think that constantly being in contact, always texting and always calling will keep them on someone's mind. But the truth? That relentless communication can sometimes have the opposite effect. They start to tune you out, like background noise. But when you go silent, suddenly you become the elephant in the room. As Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." Silence gives space for them to realize your absence and start to feel it deeply. Imagine you're watching a movie, and halfway through, it suddenly stops. The screen goes black. No explanation, no warning, just silence. How do you feel? You're probably frustrated, anxious even. You start thinking, what just happened? What's going on? Why did it stop? That sudden break in the flow grabs your attention because something you were engaged in is now missing. That's exactly what your silence does in a relationship. When you step back and stop being constantly available, it forces them to notice the sudden void. They'll start wondering what's going on, why you've gone quiet, and before you know it, they're thinking about you far more than they were when you were always talking. Silence also breaks the pattern they've become used to. If you're always the one initiating conversation, always the one reaching out, you've created a predictable routine. And let's be honest, people get comfortable in routines. But when you disrupt that, it shakes things up. Suddenly they don't know what to expect. They start replaying your last conversation in their head, searching for clues. Did something happen? Are you upset? Are you moving on? And here's where things get interesting. Your silence will make them talk. They'll either start reaching out to you, or they'll begin thinking about the reasons for your absence. Both of these outcomes put you back in control. And when they finally reach out, you're no longer in the position of chasing. They are. Let's say you've been texting someone every day for weeks. Conversations are fun, but suddenly you stop. A day goes by and they don't hear from you. 2 days, still nothing. By the 3rd day, they're checking their phone more often. They start thinking, why haven't they texted? Did I do something wrong? It's in this silence where they'll realize how much they've gotten used to your presence. And guess what? They'll start to miss you. Even in relationships, this trick works. Ever notice that after an argument, when you stop talking and give each other space, they often come back with a different attitude? That's the power of silence. It gives them time to reflect, to miss your voice, your presence, and the energy you bring into their life. Now, I know some of you are probably worried that they'll just forget about you if you go silent. But what if they don't even notice I'm gone, you might say? Well, here's the thing. If someone doesn't notice your absence, that says more about them than it does about you. And honestly, do you really want to keep chasing someone who wouldn't miss you if you disappeared? It's like leaving a party early and thinking everyone will forget you were even there. Trust me, they'll notice. In fact, they'll probably start talking about you more once you've left. It's human nature to focus on what's missing. So, here's the hard truth. If you want them to miss you, stop filling every silence with words. Stop chasing them with texts, calls, or messages. Pull back. Let them feel the void of your absence. And in that silence, they'll realize just how much space you occupied in their mind. This isn't about playing games. It's about valuing your time, your energy, and your presence enough to know that you don't always have to be available. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca said, sometimes even to live is an act of courage, and sometimes to stay silent is the bravest thing you can do. Now's the time to let silence speak for you. Let it echo in their mind. Let it create the space for them to miss you, and let it remind them just how valuable your presence truly is. Now, if you're ready to truly master the art of making them miss you, here's what you need to do. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and make sure to share it with anyone who needs this powerful reminder. We're just getting started. These tricks are designed to give you the upper hand, but the most important and effective ones are still coming. Trust me, you don't want to miss a single point, because every step builds on the next. So stick with me till the end, because by the time we're done, they won't be able to stop thinking about you. You're about to become unforgettable. 3. The power of unpredictability. Sure thing. Let's simplify that and keep it engaging. Here's how we can break down the power of being unpredictable. All right, let's chat about something cool. The power of unpredictability. You know how when something new or surprising happens, it grabs your attention. That's what we're aiming for here. Being predictable is like watching the same movie over and over. You know every line, every scene, and exactly what happens next. Pretty boring, right? But what if you never knew what was going to happen? That's when things get interesting. Imagine this. You usually text them every morning like clockwork. What if one day you don't? Instead of your usual good morning message, you wait. They wake up expecting your text, but there's nothing. What do you think they'll do? I bet they start wondering where you are or what you're doing. They might even check their phone a few times. You've just made them think about you a lot more, just by not doing something you always do. It's like when you're watching a TV show and it ends with a cliffhanger. You can't wait to see what happens next. Now, you're the cliffhanger in their day. But here's the key. Don't go overboard. You're not disappearing. You're just mixing things up. Maybe one day you respond to their texts right away, and another day you take a little longer. Keep them guessing. It's these little changes that make a big difference. They can't pin you down, and it keeps them interested. Think about when someone always agrees to hang out whenever you want. It's nice, but you might start to take it for granted. Now, imagine they say, "I'm not sure. I might have other plans." Suddenly, you're a bit more interested. You're wondering, what other plans? Who are they hanging out with? See, just a small change makes you a lot more interesting. Here's another example. If you're always the one asking questions and showing interest, try holding back a bit. Let them start the conversation. Let them ask you what's going on. When you're not so easy to read, they start paying more attention. Unpredictability is like being that secret ingredient in a recipe that makes a dish stand out. You don't need a lot of it, just enough to make things interesting. And when you do it right, they start looking forward to what you'll do next. They might even miss you when you're not around because they're thinking about your next surprise. So remember, change things up a bit. Don't be the same every day. It's like throwing a little spice into your daily routine. It keeps things exciting and makes them think about you more. And just like that, by being a bit unpredictable, you're no longer just another part of their routine. You're the exciting part of their day they can't predict. Now, isn't that a fun way to make someone miss you? Let's keep this going, and don't be afraid to mix things up. You've got this. Create a sense of mystery. So folks, let's discuss our fourth trick to make them miss you. Create a sense of mystery. Just like a magician keeps his tricks a secret, keeping a bit of yourself shrouded in mystery can make people utterly fascinated by you. After all, as Walt Whitman once said, "Do I contradict myself?" Very well then, I contradict myself. I am large, I contain multitudes. Your multitudes, your layers, are what make you irresistibly intriguing. Imagine you're reading a book that's so good you can't put it down because you need to know what happens next. Be like that book. When you reveal everything about yourself all at once, there's no mystery, no suspense, no pages to turn. They think they've got you figured out, case closed. But when you slowly reveal the depths of your character, interests and life, it keeps them guessing and wanting more. Here's a fun example. Say you casually mention that you play the guitar during a conversation, but don't elaborate much. Next time you meet, maybe they notice a guitar pick in your car or a music book peeping out of your bag. Now they're curious. What kind of music do you play? Have you played in front of an audience? Each little clue you leave adds another layer to the mystery, pulling them deeper into wanting to know more about you. Now, maintaining this sense of mystery isn't about being dishonest or secretive for no reason. It's about not laying all your cards out on the table right from the start. It's the difference between telling someone everything about your toughest day at work in excruciating detail versus mentioning you faced a challenge and will share more once you've figured it all out. The latter can pique their interest and respect for your ability to handle situations on your own before seeking input or sympathy. Think about when you start a new hobby or interest. Don't just spill all the beans at once. Maybe one day you post a photo online with a hint of your new activity in the background, or they see you carrying a new book about a subject they didn't know you were interested in. These small doses of new information create layers that someone will want to peel back over time, increasing their desire to be around you to learn more. Also, remember to be subtle. Let's say you've traveled to some exciting places. Instead of bombarding them with every story, leave a souvenir out or a picture up on your wall. When they ask about it, give just enough to satisfy that moment's curiosity, and then, perhaps, switch the conversation. You've just given them a taste of your adventurous side, and now they're left wondering what other stories you might have. To wrap it up, think about it this way. The most memorable people in our lives are those who surprise us over time, not all at once. They reveal their depths gradually, making every new layer found a treasure. Strive to be like that. Leave a little mystery, a little more to be discovered. As you cultivate this art, you'll find people drawn to you, not just because of what they know, but because of what they eagerly anticipate learning. Your life is a series of stories. Don't give away the ending too soon. Let them linger on every word, every pause, and they'll be coming back for more, missing you when you're not around to tell the next part of your tale. 5. Use reciprocity to your advantage. So folks, Let's discuss the fifth trick in our arsenal. Use reciprocity to your advantage. Reciprocity is a powerful psychological principle. Basically, it's the old scratch my back and I'll scratch yours idea. But when it comes to making someone miss you, it's about giving just enough to make them want to give back even more. Imagine this. You lend someone your favorite book because they mentioned they love to read. It's a small gesture, but it means something. A week later, you casually ask how they liked it. Even if they haven't started it yet, they now feel a subtle push to not only start reading, but also to think about what they can do for you in return. Maybe they'll invite you to a coffee to discuss the book, or better yet, they'll lend you one of their favorites. You've created a cycle of give and take that keeps you on their mind. As Benjamin Franklin said, "He that has once done you a kindness will be more ready to do you another than he whom you yourself have obliged." When you do something nice for someone, they're actually more likely to think of you and want to reciprocate. That's human nature. We don't like to feel indebted to others. So, how can you use this to be missed? It's simple. Be thoughtful in small ways. Maybe send them a link to a song you think they'd like, or drop off a cupcake from that bakery they love when you know they're having a tough day. These little acts of kindness aren't just good vibes, they're investments. Investments in making them think about you when you're not around and feeling that slight, pleasant pressure to return the favor. Here's the motivational punchline. Start small, think big. Every little act of kindness is a seed you plant, and with time, these seeds grow into a garden of reciprocity that they walk through every day, constantly reminded of you. This isn't about manipulation. It's about mutual appreciation that builds a bridge between not just being present, but being missed when you're not there. Be the reason someone smiles today, and watch as that smile comes back to you tenfold, making them not just miss you, but value you deeply. Don't just be a memory, be a presence that's felt even in your absence. 6. The waiting game. So folks, let's discuss the sixth trick in our arsenal, the waiting game. Now, this one's all about patience, and let's be honest, playing the waiting game can feel a bit like fishing. You cast your line, sit back and wait, hoping something bites. But remember, the key isn't just waiting, it's waiting with purpose. Imagine you send a message to someone and instead of jumping the second you see their reply, you take your sweet time to respond. It's not about playing hard to get. It's about showing that your world is full and busy, not revolving around them. This little pause, this tiny delay can make a big splash. Suddenly, they're on their toes, checking their phone, wondering what's keeping you so busy that you can't text back right away. Benjamin Franklin once said, "He that can have patience can have what he will." Patience is not just a virtue, it's a strategy. In the context of making someone miss you, it's about giving them the space to feel your absence. The waiting game creates a kind of tension, an anticipation that makes the heart grow fonder, or more curious at least. Think about a time when someone took a while to respond to your texts. Did you check your phone more often? Did your mind wander to what they were doing? That's the psychological hook of the waiting game. You're not just waiting, you're quietly elevating your status in their eyes. You become something like a puzzle they're itching to solve. As you master the art of the wait, remember, this isn't about ignoring or neglecting. It's about crafting moments of anticipation that build desire. Let them sit with their thoughts, let them ponder and pine. The more they think about what you're up to, the more ingrained you become in their daily thoughts. So, take a breath, slow down, and let the magic of the waiting game work for you. This isn't just about making them wait. It's about making the wait worthwhile. Let each delayed response be a subtle reminder of your worth and desirability. You're not just another notification on their phone. You're the notification they're eagerly awaiting. Make them realize that good things, no, great things come to those who wait. 7. Emotional roller coasters. So folks, let's discuss the 7th trick in our arsenal to make them miss you: emotional roller coasters. This technique is all about keeping their feelings in a dynamic and exciting state, just like a roller coaster with its thrilling highs and suspenseful lows. Imagine you're at an amusement park, right? You're strapped into the roller coaster, heart pounding and palms sweaty, anticipating the climb. There's excitement, a bit of fear, and a whole lot of anticipation. That's the emotional state you want to evoke. You're not just another calm, predictable ride in the park. You're the one they buckle up for and think about long after the ride is over. Let's break it down. One day, you're all charm and laughter, sending them funny memes, sharing inside jokes, and making them feel like they're the center of your universe. They're up in the clouds, feeling great. Then, subtly, you cool off. You're not cold, just a little quieter. You respond a bit slower, and your messages are friendly but not flirty. It's like the part of the ride where the roller coaster hangs at the top for just a second, right before the drop. They're left hanging, wondering, what happened? Was it something I said? As Aristotle wisely put it, the aim of the wise is not to secure pleasure, but to avoid pain. But in the game of making them miss you, you're playing with both securing pleasure with your presence and creating a pang of pain with your absence. It's this interplay of push and pull, give and take, that keeps the emotional stakes high and their engagement even higher. As you master this technique, remember, the goal is not to manipulate, but to intensify the emotional experience between you two. It's about making the times you're together so good that the times you're apart feel noticeably empty. Embrace the power of emotional highs and lows. Let them feel the rush of your presence and the echo of your absence. This isn't just about being missed. It's about becoming unforgettable. As you step back into the shadows now and then, let them feel the chill of missing your warmth. And when you return, bring the sunshine that fills their world with color. This is how you become someone they can't help but miss, and someone they'll chase to feel those highs once again. 8. Strategic disappearance. So folks, let us discuss the 8th trick on our list, strategic disappearance. Now, before you think it's about playing hide and seek, let me clarify. It's more sophisticated than that. It's about carefully choosing when to step back and let them feel the weight of your absence. Think of it as the art of becoming a ghost, but one they definitely miss. Imagine this scenario. You're always around, always available, always the first to send a message. Now, flip that script. What if, suddenly, you don't send that good morning text? What if your weekend plans no longer revolve around them? It's like you've vanished into thin air. Here's where it gets interesting. Now they start wondering, oh, and where did they go? You've just planted a seed of curiosity. As Mark Twain famously said, the absence of one who is loved is more terrible than death. Your strategic disappearance isn't about causing pain. It's about kindling an appreciation for your presence. It's about making them realize how pleasant your presence is by giving them a taste of your absence. Consider this. You usually chat throughout the day, so you decide to go quiet for a day or even just an afternoon. The key is not to announce it, just let it happen naturally. When you do this, you create a small mystery. They're left guessing, maybe even a bit concerned. When you come back online or return their calls, watch how the dynamic changes. They're likely more enthusiastic, more engaged, because your absence has made your presence a hot commodity. Embrace this strategy with balance. Don't disappear so long or so often that it feels like neglect. Just long enough to make them miss you, just enough to make them realize your value. Now, let your absence speak louder than any words could. Let them feel the void only you can fill. This isn't about manipulation. It's about reminding them why you're irreplaceable. You are not just another person in their life. You are the person. Make them miss you. Make them value the light you bring into their lives. And watch as they come looking for you, eager for your return. Remember, it's not about being forgotten, but about being so memorable that your absence is felt deeply. 9. Anchoring their emotions. So folks, let's discuss our 9th point, anchoring their emotions. This trick is all about making such a strong emotional impact that every time they think of a particular thing, they can't help but think of you. It's like hearing a song that reminds you of that summer road trip, and suddenly all those sunny emotions flood back. Imagine you and your person have a special coffee shop where you've shared some great conversations. Now, every time they walk by that coffee shop, or even think about coffee, who do you think pops into their mind? That's right, you've anchored your presence to their coffee experience. Here's a little wisdom from the marketing world that applies perfectly here. People forget what you said, forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Maya Angelou. What this means in our context is creating moments that are so emotionally charged, they become mental bookmarks, unforgettable and always accessible. Now, try to create these moments whenever you can. Maybe it's through a heartfelt compliment that they'll remember when they wear that outfit again, or perhaps an inside joke that makes them laugh every time they see a certain meme. As you master the art of emotional anchoring, remember, the goal is to be the person they think of when they're feeling high, low, or anything in between. Be the comfort, the cheer, and the nostalgia. Embed yourself in their emotions like a favorite song stuck on repeat. Let your absence be the silence they can't bear, and watch as they come back, time and again, to replay those memories and rekindle those feelings. 10. The contrast principle. So folks, let's discuss the 10th trick in our arsenal of dark psychological tactics to make them miss you. The contrast principle. This principle is all about showing them what they're missing out on, not by telling them, but by showing them. Imagine you always meet someone in casual settings, like grabbing coffee in your everyday clothes. Then, suddenly, they see you at a formal event looking absolutely stunning. The contrast between these two images makes your formal appearance even more striking. They can't help but notice and appreciate the new you. Robert Cialdini, a master of influence, said it best. What is focal is causal. When you change what they're focusing on, you change how they feel. By varying how they see you, from everyday to extraordinary, you keep them on their toes. They start to see you in a new light. They realize there's more to you than what they've grown accustomed to. As you apply the contrast principle, think about how you can create these shifts in their perception. Maybe one day you're the listener, and another you're the storyteller. Or one day you're all business, and the next you're the life of the party. This contrast not only sparks interest, but also stirs a longing when you're not around. Let this principle remind you to vary your shades and colors in the tapestry of your interactions. Be dynamic, be unpredictable, and watch as they become captivated by every version of you they discover. Remember, every time you reveal a new layer of yourself, you're not just intriguing them, you're making them miss the layers they haven't yet uncovered. Be more than just a memory. Be an enigma they are eager to solve. 11. Cultivating exclusivity. So folks, let's dive into our 11th trick, cultivating exclusivity. It's like being part of an exclusive club where not everyone gets a membership. When you cultivate exclusivity in your relationships, you're essentially telling the other person, hey, not just anyone gets this kind of attention from me. Imagine you're a chef who makes a special dish only once a month. The rarity of this dish makes people crave it more because they know they can't just get it any time they want. Apply this to how you manage your time and attention. Let it be known that your time is valuable and your attention is a privilege, not a given. Mark Twain said, "The secret of success is making your vocation your vacation." Make the time spent with you so enjoyable, so unique, that it feels like a rare holiday they wish wouldn't end. Let your presence be something they aspire to have more of, and your absence something they feel deeply. Remember, exclusivity isn't about being aloof. It's about being selective in the most enchanting way. Be the person they can't wait to see again, because each moment with you is a limited edition they treasure. 12. Leaving a lasting impression. So folks, let's discuss the 12th and final trick, leaving a lasting impression. This trick is all about making sure that every interaction with you is memorable, that you leave a mark on their hearts and minds. Imagine this. Every time you meet someone, you're giving them a story to tell about you. What story do you want that to be? As Maya Angelou beautifully said, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. That's your goal. Whether it's through a thoughtful gesture, a witty comment, or simply the way you make them laugh, make each interaction count. These are the snapshots of you they'll carry in their mind's eye, especially when you're not around. Create moments that are so vivid, so uniquely you, that when they think back, your image is accompanied by a fond smile. Be the person they miss, not just because you're gone, but because the echo of your laughter, the warmth of your words, and the light of your presence are too good to forget. This is how you leave a lasting impression. You become someone they're always looking forward to seeing again. Thank you for watching.